When I was little, no matter what I was learning, my parents would tell me the same message. Don't give up, keep going. I didn't realize it then, but it would shape the way I would make decisions in life. Don't give up, keep going turned into my definition of persistence, and to keep moving forward even when I didn't know the path ahead. In 2016, I was training for the Sun Run, a tradition I had with my dad. And as I was running on the treadmill, I couldn't feel my left foot hit the belt. It didn't hurt, so I kept running. Weeks later, I was unable to lift that same leg up to my chest. I was told an MRI would take 6 months. I wasn't about to wait for that. So I booked a private MRI, and I got the results quite quickly. The report was full of medical jargon, but one thing was clear: I needed to see a neurosurgeon. Now I was waiting again, and with no timeline. I waited, I called the office, and I was told just to wait. I couldn't do that. So I did some research, and I found a neurosurgeon in Seattle. I booked that within a week. I drove 2 hours to see her, and when I sat right in front of her, she looked at me, her face full of concern. "Why aren't they seeing you? Why aren't you getting surgery?" she said. She said the best thing for me to do was go back to Canada, sit in emergency with my records in hand, and wait for them to see me there. She even wrote me a note. So I did. 2 weeks later, I had my surgery. Fast forward a year and a half later, the surgery didn't work, and my mobility wasn't getting any better. I was now waiting to see the top neurosurgeon in Vancouver. And at the same time that all of this was going on, my dad, the man that taught me to run and did the Sun Run with me, was battling terminal cancer. And when the day arrived for my long-awaited appointment, I was in the hospital. I had stayed overnight at my dad's bedside. At this point, he was just so strongly holding on. And I had to make the most impossible decision: to stay by his side or find out what's happening to my body. I chose to go, knowing I'd be back soon. I needed to find answers. And as I stepped inside the appointment, I had just sat down, and my phone rang. It was my brother. My dad had passed, and I wasn't there. That decision still stays with me. Persistence means you don't always get what you want. It means having to make impossible decisions and still moving forward. 2 months later, I was in the Netherlands getting surgery because that's where the expertise led me. Complications followed. I would have 2 more surgeries. And no matter how hard I chased for answers, the inevitable happened. In 2021, I went to see my physiatrist. I hadn't seen her in a couple years, and I was barely taking steps at this point. Her face was full of shock when she saw me, but she assessed me quietly and called me the next day. Her words would change my life forever. "I've booked you into GF Strong. You're gonna need to learn wheelchair skills," she said. And just like that, I became a permanent wheelchair user. I hit rock bottom. I was grieving my dad, the loss of my mobility, I let go of a career that I'd worked so hard for. And I didn't know what my future was going to look like anymore. I sold my bike. I gave away my heels. And I stopped driving. I was lost. But there was this little light. My daughter. She didn't see me as broken. She just saw me as mom. And she needed me to be at her tea parties, to play dress up with, and watch her perform. So I did. And by doing these little things with her, my confidence began to grow back slowly. And eventually, I returned to cycling, and I bought a hand cycle. I bought flats in all different styles. And I relearned to drive. Persistence meant showing up in every moment and every day when all I wanted to do was stay down. And as I started to navigate the world around me in a wheelchair, there were barriers everywhere. Ramps that were too steep, washrooms I couldn't access, and the White Rock Pier, a place in my own backyard that I used to go all the time, was now inaccessible. So I wrote to the city, and for 3 years we corresponded, but there was very little action. One day I saw a news segment where another wheelchair user was on the pier showing the barriers that existed. Her concerns for access were dismissed as though accessibility was not a human right. And that didn't sit right with me. So for 9 months, I challenged that mindset. I presented and spoke to council. I collected over 19 letters of support from national, provincial, and local organizations. I held a rally down on the pier for able-bodied users to traverse the pier in wheelchairs. And I started a petition that gathered over 1,400 signatures in just 2 weeks. And in August 2024, the accessibility mat was installed on the pier. And we celebrated. We didn't cut a ribbon. We rolled through it. Persistence meant breaking barriers. Physical barriers, attitudinal barriers, and it made my community better. From that experience, I learned that my voice carried weight. So when the White Rock by-election came around a year later, I rolled for it. Not because I was ready, not because I thought it would be easy, but because I knew my perspective was needed at the table. And it was a 30-day long, intense campaign of having to build a website, design postcards and signs, speaking at panels, interviews, talking to residents all over the city. I gave it my all. And on election night, at a small gathering at my home, and I refreshed my phone for the final results, my face got all hot and my eyes teared up. And I yelled, "Oh my God, I'm in." It was a proud moment. I was the first South Asian to ever be elected on White Rock City Council. The first with a physical disability to serve, and a mother who represented young families. Persistence meant to act, even when I wasn't ready. And if life has taught me anything, it's this. Persistence means having the courage to continue going forward, even when you don't know the path ahead. You just need to keep moving forward, because that courage can change everything. Thank you.